How's it going, everybody? It's Brian. I'm back at my duplex yet again. We're still working here. Today I should say that the last couple of days I have been working on, let's see if we can get this, there we go, 0.5. I've been working on this. I've been working on the backsplash tile for the cabinet in the bathroom. I also have been working out in the kitchen. I'll show you guys that in a second. But last night I was here until like 8:30 p.m. Working on this, putting the tile up here above the tub. I mean, technically you don't need to have tile in here above the tub. You could just be drywall, but I am a bit particular, I guess. I don't know. I just thought this would look really nice, and so I put it up, and I feel like it looks pretty nice. I'll show you guys up close here. These are my spacers. They're actually just chunks of the box that the tile came in, and I just ripped off little pieces and stuck them in to space out the tile, because these particular tiles do not have the little spacers built into them. A lot of them do. The square ones I know that are, like this, they usually have like these little spacer things built onto them. So when you stack them like this, they automatically space themselves. But these particular tiles did not have that, so I had to create spacers for them. Anyway, let's take you guys to go see what I was doing in the kitchen. Okay, so here's the kitchen. The countertops have gone on since let's see here. Countertops have gone on since you guys last saw. These are quartz. They're a white, sparkly quartz. Maybe I'll zoom the camera in so you guys can see. So this is the countertop. I don't know if you can see the sparkles. Well, there I saw one. I saw a sparkle. There's a little bit of sparkles. But anyway, there's the countertop and the backsplash. For this, and then also here on the kitchen island where the oven is, we got quartz again, and I put a little strip of tile backsplash over there just to kind of clean things up, make it look nice. And switching on over to this spot, this is where the washer and dryer go, and I put up some of this stuff. It's called FRP. It stands for fiberglass reinforced panels. Where you have to, I put that up just to make this a little more water resistant. I mean, technically the fiberglass is waterproof, but it's a house, and if water starts leaking, then it's gonna get to places. So this just kind of makes it more water resistant. The main reason I did that is because a while back, I'm not sure which one of I think it was the hose off of the washing machine was leaking onto the wall back here, and we didn't know, obviously, because it's behind the washing machine, so you couldn't really see it, I guess, at first. But anyway, it damaged the drywall, and so I had to kind of clean that up, patch the wall, and then I put this up just to waterproof it a little better. Things are slowly but surely coming along, and as you can see, we've got a hole there for the sink to go in. I haven't put the sink in there yet because I want to grout and silicone. Some people might call it caulk, but technically there's a difference between caulk and silicone. Silicone is waterproof, and caulk is just kind of water resistant. Caulk, if you get it wet enough, it'll kind of soak up the water and will deteriorate, but silicone, on the other hand, is waterproof, and so it just completely repels water 100%. But anyway, so yeah, I want to silicone. Ooh, let me get that back in there. I want to silicone. Let's see if I can try silicone the crack or the joint, the seam there along the countertop, between the countertop and the backsplash. That was kind of silly, wasn't it? Yeah, and so that's why I haven't put the sink in yet. The sink itself is just right over here next to all this junk. I've got the faucet attached to it already, and the air gap is attached. So, because you have to have the dishwasher connected to the air gap, and then another hose goes from the air gap down to the actual drain. The bathroom sink, it's the same situation. You probably saw that with the video I shot earlier. We got a hole for the bathroom sink, but again, I want to grout that tile first and then silicone the I don't know what I'm going to call that, the seam, I guess, where the counter and the backsplash meet each other. But yeah, the bathroom sink I have stashed into here. Let's turn the light on. And it's got the faucet attached to it already. It's ready to go, except yeah, just gotta finish the backsplash stuff. As for some other things that have happened since you guys last saw, let me turn around here. That sliding glass door back there is brand new, and that got installed. The old one, I actually bought it on Craigslist, I don't know, like 10 years ago maybe, for like $100, and I tore out the old one. The old one prior to that one was made of aluminum, and it just like did not slide anymore, and it was really a piece of junk. But anyway, my $100 Craigslist special, it after 10 years, it got where it wasn't sliding anymore. I tried, cleaning it out and doing different things to try to get it to slide good again, and it just was done, I guess, because it had lived in somebody else's house for who knows how long before I picked it up for $100. And so yeah, it had reached the end of its useful life. So we had a brand new sliding glass door put in, and that one works fantastically. Let me show you here. It's like, it makes me think of that scene on Ace Ventura: Pet Detective when he's like, I think I'll actually insert that clip so that it's not me acting like an idiot. As for a few other things that I've done since you guys last saw, I have fixed these cabinets where they now shut. I think I mentioned that in my last video, that they didn't shut right. And I had to go and replace these magnetic catches at the top and the bottom. I actually had to build this whole thing here. Yeah, it's out of a bunch of scrap pieces of wood. I figure this is a cabinet that never gets opened really unless you absolutely need to get in here, so it doesn't have to look nice, it just has to work right. So anyway, those now close properly, which is great. And let me think, oh yeah, the other thing is here in the bathroom. I mean, this floor is disgusting if you look at it. I know, quick change of subject. All of this stuff, this is off of the tiles that I put up on the wall. All of that came off of those tiles. I bought these tiles at Lowe's. Let's show you it here. This is a box of them. You can see, maybe, hopefully, some of this on the top of the tiles here. Let's see, yeah, you can kind of see it there. If I get a shadow on there, you can see it. It's like glue or something. I think they put it on these tiles. It comes off fairly easily, but they put it on here, I think, so the tiles won't rub against each other, like here on the back. There's some here and here. And so they put some on the back and there's some on the sides. So like when it's shipping, then they won't like vibrate and scratch each other or maybe hit each other and chip each other. I think that's what it's for. I'm not 100% sure, but it kind of sucked that I had to sit there and scrape all of that off on every single tile as I was putting them up. So that like made it take longer because, I had to spend, I don't know, 5 or 10 seconds or something scraping glue off. But anyway, oh, the thing I was going to show you here in the bathroom, I'm back in the bathroom. One more thing that I did is this side panel right here. This was kind of beat up just from, I've owned this place for a little over 20 years. And these cabinets are the same ones that have been in here the entire time. How long they were in here before I bought the place, I have no idea. But this, just over all the years, was pretty beat up and ugly. So I went and got a piece of 1/4 inch thick plywood and stained it. And I feel like it looks pretty good. It's not a perfect match. This is a little more orangey, I guess, than this. But I was trying to match the actual panel, which you can't see now because it's covered up, but it was actually, I don't know, it's kind of like this color, but actually darker. The panel itself was a little darker than this. So even the original panel didn't match this that great. So anyway, that was kind of a fun little experiment to try to get something decent, but I feel like that turned out pretty good. It looks all right there. Other than that stuff, I've kind of been doing some cleaning up around here. Like I went and wiped down all the cabinets because they had like food and gunk on them from the people living here, and so I got that cleaned off and just been doing other little odds and end things here and there, like, you know, little detail work that isn't anything like a big job or whatever, just little things here and there, caulking, touch-up paint, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's what's been going on today. I'm actually going to be back in the bathroom. I just walked out of there. I'm going to be in here, and I'm going to be removing all of my little shim pieces here because I don't need to be in there anymore. I'm going to take all of those out, and then I'm going to remove the doors, take the doors off of the hinges because I need to paint them. I know they're already white, but these are just primed. So I've got to paint them fully, and so I got to take them off, and I'm going to set them up out in this room out here, which means I'm going to have to clean up but all that crap, move it out of the way, and so I can set them up out there to paint them. And yeah, so I guess let's do that. I apologize, I did not bring my camera and tripod today, so it's just my phone. I hope that you can see me. I can't see myself because I'm using the main camera, not the selfie cam. So I'm going to speed up the footage, and you can watch me take all of these out really, really fast. There you go. That was about 5.5 minutes condensed down into about 10 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever I choose to edit it down to, whatever feels right in the final edit. I don't want it to be too long, don't want it to be too short. I want it to be just long enough that you enjoy watching it, but don't get bored. Hey, it's me again, back in my bathroom. I was just about to leave, and I thought, you know, I might want to offer just a small bit of advice, although this is a vlog, and so maybe I don't really need to give any advice, but a small bit of advice to anyone who is wanting to do some tile like this I have up here. One of the things I've seen people do in the past, well, I should say that one of my first jobs when I got out of high school was working laying tile, and I worked for a tile setter who taught me how to properly install tile. And one of the things I've noticed that a lot of people do when they do stuff like this on their own is they'll just kind of start with a full tile and then just go. And however it ends up, that's how it ends up, right? And sometimes it works out okay. Like you can see here, I started with a full tile and it ends up and it looks fine. We have a cut over there. Sometimes it doesn't work out fine. And so layout is the most important part of doing tile work like this, is laying the tiles out first to see how it's gonna work out. Or some people, when a job's really big and it's not possible to just, you know, lay some tiles out and look at it, they'll measure it. So they'll measure, you know, like they'll lay out, I don't know, several tiles next to each other, and then they'll measure it out, and then they'll measure like how, you know, measure the area to see how it's gonna work. And that's what I would say. Lay it out, get it figured out, so then you know where you want to start and how big of a piece you want. Like if you want like a cut piece at the start, or if you want, I need to switch hands. My arm is dying. Or maybe I'll support it with my other arm. Yeah, see, you're gonna support it like that. But yes, lay it out. I'll show you what I did here real quick. On this one, what I did is I figured out where the center was between the walls, and then I just tried to decide, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to have, on this bottom row, kind of what do I want to do? I guess actually, I first went over here with these and I figured out, okay, if I start it, where I want to start, and I decided I want to start basically right as this rounds and then flattens. So right where that becomes flat, I was like, let's start right there. And then I was like, okay, what if I start with a full tile? How's it gonna end up over there? And I laid it out and it ended up like that. And I was like, that looks great. And then when you're doing the brick lay pattern like this in these subway tiles, then of course you want a half tile next up above it. And so then I figured out how did that look. And so I had a bigger piece, obviously, smaller, bigger. And so that's gonna remain more or less the same as it goes up the wall. And so from there, I was like, okay, now I wanna figure out what's gonna look good when I do this back wall. And so I started, like I said, I found the center point in the wall, and then I was like, okay, if I start right here, if I did a full piece, so my center line was right there. If I start with a full piece on this side of the line, a full piece on that side of the line, how does it end up over here? And we had a bigger piece here, and I was like, okay, what does that look like? And then I, of course, laid out the next row, and I had a smaller piece, and I was like, okay, that looks pretty good, where this piece goes, and then, smaller piece here, bigger. And so I thought that looks pretty nice. Now, had I gone with putting the tile like this, like directly, like finding the center of the tile and putting that center of the tile right on my center line and gone, then I would have had this small piece right here. So I would have had small, small, big, big, which I think would have not looked as good. It wouldn't look good with this brick lay pattern like this. And so that is one of the benefits of laying it out before you start putting it on the wall. And I more or less did the same thing here in the kitchen, where I started with a full tile, then a half tile, but then when I was going to figure out this part, what I wanted to do, the most important part here is we have this little notch up here in the cabinets. And what I could have done is started out over here. So here you can see, like over there, I've got a full tile on the bottom and then a half. This one I have a little bit less than a half and then a little bit less than a full. This has actually got a little bit of a full tile cut off of it over here. And the only reason I did that is because that's where it ends. Well, the reason I did that is, look at this right here. In here, I wanted this to be, the pattern to be centered between this cabinet, because if I didn't do that, then while it would look nice over here, we would have very small cuts on one side and a much noticeably larger cut on the other. So once again, this is why it's important to lay it out first, or plan it out, what you're going to do before you do it, so that you can make it look the very best you possibly can. So yeah, anyway, I've been blabbing for a long time here, and this is a vlog. This is not a tutorial, so I don't 100% know why I am giving my 2 cents like that, but I don't know, maybe somebody watching this will find the information useful. Maybe they're thinking about doing a project like this and they'll watch this and they'll go, hey, that's a great idea. I should lay it out before I just go for it. But yeah, there you go, guys. That's my little tidbit of advice for anybody who's doing tile work like this. It's now time to take the doors down, so I guess let's get going. So we'll start by removing these hinges. That's one thing about hanging doors, to get them to hang nice and secure, because they come with just these short little screws into the door jamb, which that's fine, but if you really want to secure the jamb in place, putting some long screws in, like this guy, into like one of these screw holes, usually the middle one's the one I choose, is a good way to go. But I think what I'll do here is I'm going to remove these two. We'll leave the top one screwed in. And then I'm going to move the camera somewhere. It's going to be down low. Let's see how this works. Got like a little piece of wood I can set it against. cannot tell how it's seeing. So I guess we will find out later, right? Because I need my other hand. I cannot keep holding the camera and doing this. Okay, there we go. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these hinges off, but I'm gonna label them before I do. Well, as I take them off, I'm gonna label like which door they go on and at which position on the door, because you know, you may think that it wouldn't matter, that they're all the same and it wouldn't matter, but for some reason it matters. It makes a difference. If you don't put the exact hinge back in the exact same spot, things just don't go well. So I'm gonna label all of them so that when I put them back on, I put them all back off, put them all back on right where they came from, so I don't have any problems. I'm using my ladder and a block of wood as a tripod here for this, so I can record this. Not that you guys really care, probably. We'll see how it works. Now I will write which door this came off of, which was the front bedroom. And I'm just going to number the hinges 1, 2, and 3. So this is hinge 1. And then just got to remember that the side I wrote on goes on the door frame. I think I'm going to write door right here, just to remind myself. All right, let's do the other ones. All right, we got the doors rigged up there. As you can see, I ended up putting 2 boards across the top to tie them together, which that made it a lot more secure. I mean, I've seen painters do this a lot, but it's been many, many years since I have done this myself. So I kind of forgot exactly what to do, how to do it. Usually when I've done it before, we've had a second person, and that guy was usually the one in charge, the guy I was working with. And
So I was just kind of there to hold the doors, and he was, you know, fastening them together. But there we are. There you are, all set up, ready to paint. Unfortunately, I do not have a paint sprayer to spray these doors, which would make it, I think, quicker and easier. But I've got a roller, which, you know, these foam rollers like this, they leave a pretty nice finish. Almost as good as sprayed on. It's pretty smooth and nice looking. And then, of course, to do the detail areas, I've got a brush to, you know, get into these spots here, these crevices. So I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, just kidding, I'm back. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of what I'm doing here. Just I don't know, you know, just for fun. We'll do a little like kind of painting tutorial. I don't know, I'm not a professional painter, but I've had enough painting experience in my life to learn a few things. And so, you know, I thought maybe I'll share a few little tips I've learned along the way. What we want to do here is we don't want to put a lot of paint on because that's when you get like the ugly paint like lines, and you get drips and stuff that look terrible. And so you want to put on a thin coat. We're gonna do at least 2 coats on these doors. And so what I'm doing right now is I am just getting a little bit of paint on the tip of my brush. And then I'm just putting it into these crevices here and just kind of painting it on. A nice thin coat of paint so that, you know, it gets enough on there where it's gonna get the paint to cover, and we shouldn't get any ugly paint streaks or any drips or anything like that. So that's my 2 cents on what I do with a brush. So I'll come back here in a little bit and show you what I do with a roller. What I'm gonna do is pour a little bit of this paint into my pan here, which maybe I can do one-handed. Well, probably not without getting paint all over myself. So I'm gonna pour some paint into the pan, and then I'll be right back. All right, we got some paint in our pan now, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this roller, I'm gonna get it, we're going to get some on it here, get some paint, get it loaded up. And then we will come to our door, and we will begin just rolling it on. But of course, I don't know, this roller, it's like once this roller is a little bit finicky, I should probably just get a new one. It likes to not roll at first when it's dry, but once it like gets globbed up with paint, that kind of lubricates it, and then it starts working better. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I probably just need a new roller. That's probably the best thing to do. But it's getting there, it's getting there. I just kind of got to work it in here. But I'm not pushing hard. I'm just kind of letting it roll over top of it. And we're just gonna get our nice coat of paint on, you know, our nice first coat of paint onto this section of the door. And then we're gonna move on around to all the rest of it. And the nice thing about these foam rollers like this is even though it kind of goes on with a little bit of texture, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know, there's probably not enough light. I'm not at the right angle. There's a little bit of texture, but it kind of smooths out as it dries. And when it is dry, there's a little bit of that texture left, but it looks pretty good actually. I think, at least I think it looks okay. It looks like a nice light, smoothish, textured-ish finish. First coat of paint on the door. I'm going to go around to the back side, paint the back side, and then I will let it dry. This is a Friday that I'm here painting right now, and I'm going to let it dry over the weekend before I do the second coat, so it gets nice and dry, so that the second coat should go on nicely. All right, I guess I'll do some more painting, and then I'll be back.
A few moments later.
All right, the doors are all done. Here, let me put the camera around. All right, so let's switch it to 0.5. There we go. I painted both sides of the doors, and they're looking really nice. I actually, after I finished painting those, I went down the hallway here and worked on painting these doorways. Let me turn on some lights here so you can hopefully see it a little bit better. I don't know how well we're gonna see it. Everything's white, so it all just kind of blends in. But yeah, I painted this doorway, and I painted the doorway into the bathroom here. Let's turn these lights on, and front and back. And I was going to paint this one too, but I've run out of time. It is time to pack it up and go home. So I guess that's it for this work vlog for now. I'm really sorry that it's taking so long and I'm not doing the normal VR/PC content that you guys subscribe for. But this is my #1 priority. I gotta get this stuff done so that I can then get back to doing that stuff again. We are, of course, getting closer to the end, so that is good, and I will be able to get back to doing normal stuff again pretty soon. So that is it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll catch you next time.
Come on, do it. You know you want to. Subscribe.